Hi everyone, today we're taking a look at the future of Warzone and how the new game Cold War will affect things. I'm sure most of you guys watching this saw the multiplayer reveal of COD 2020 last night, and whilst they did mostly focus on the MP, there was a section dedicated to Warzone and also a cheeky article that released and slipped under the radar, and in that article there's some solid information about what is happening next with Warzone and how it will be integrated with the new game, and there's some really juicy stuff in there that's got me quite excited indeed. Before we get into that though, I have a sponsored message from Wargaming. They are developing a new fast-paced first-person shooter, a completely new IP by a team that specializes in FPS games, and so they're looking for people to take part in a playtest on PC over the next few days. So this game is in early development right now, and they want people who love playing shooters to come in, play the game, and give them some good, honest feedback about it. What you like, what you don't like, and why. Simple. If you're interested in taking part in that, the link to sign up is down in the description below. The initial playtests are this Saturday and Sunday, and sign-ups close on Saturday the 12th at 1700 BST. Also, a heads up, people who participate in the test will have the opportunity to stay involved and participate in future feedback sessions as well. Just a cool opportunity that I wanted to share with you guys, and if you do take part and give feedback, be honest about it and be as clear as you can be. Now then, the future of Warzone. So the reveal stream itself, I've watched it back and cut out the most important things that they mentioned, and we'll go over this in just a second because it does raise a few questions for me.
And this is a true connected experience. Warzone and Cold War. The events in one will impact the events in the other, expanding Call of Duty in new ways you've never seen before.
But also interweaving the themes, locations, weapons, and vehicles of Black Ops Cold War right into the action. Cold War and Warzone will also share post-launch content from a narrative standpoint across both the Battle Pass system and item shop content. It's important to us that you can still use your characters and weapons and progression-related items, which is why investment and progress in Cold War is reflected in Warzone. So we're making sure Black Ops Cold War and Warzone share progression, with much of your previously earned Modern Warfare content, from weapons to cosmetics, still available for use in both Warzone and Modern Warfare. We're collaborating with our studio partners across Call of Duty to preserve continuity while building a new chapter of Warzone that'll immerse you into all of the best elements of Black Ops Cold War.
Okay, so connected experience, they keep going on about that. The events in one game will affect the other. But what does that mean in reality? Well, as was just said, themes, locations, weapons, and vehicles of Cold War will be put in Warzone with shared progression. And whilst we haven't got a confirmation of exactly how this will work, I'm going to make a few educated guesses and assumptions here. Firstly, with Black Ops Cold War being on a different engine to Modern Warfare and Warzone, I think most people are probably wondering, well, how is that possible? And based on what we know now about the mechanics of Cold War, you couldn't just drop Black Ops things into Warzone one-to-one. For example, the gunsmith is quite different, the way that the attachments affect the guns, the values of them, the bullet speed, the recoil, the reloads, the perks that you can use, the wildcards, field upgrades, animations, etc. That wouldn't work. So what's the logical alternative? Well, I think that what's going to happen here is that Warzone, being a standalone game, will remain on the same engine and will still retain how it feels to play. So most of the mechanics will stay the same, but content from Cold War will be added to it over time and converted to the engine, so to speak. Warzone's already got an AK and an MP5, for example, but it doesn't have an L96 sniper or a Spaz 12 shotgun. So separate versions of those guns will be created for Warzone and added in so they work and are compatible with the game and the Modern Warfare gunsmith system. Same goes for the vehicles too. The helicopter in Warzone is kind of this modern looking MH6 style, and that might be changed into something that's a bit more 80s like the UH-1. Or instead of an A-10 Thunderbolt flying in and doing the precision airstrike, it might be replaced with a MiG-29 or an F-15, if you see where I'm going with this. And in terms of the map, I'm expecting that we'll see that change considerably too. Whether that's a more 1980s vibe to the current version of Verdansk, like a new skin, or a completely new location entirely, I'm not sure. But the way that I've just described it, that makes the most sense to me, because if you think about it, it would take way more work, time, effort, and money to convert all of the existing Warzone assets to the new Black Ops Cold War engine than to just add content and change how existing content looks in Warzone. Would the Cold War engine even be capable of doing what Warzone does? Also, we've been playing Warzone for 7 months now, and it will be 9 months by the time that Cold War comes out. So we're all used to how it feels and plays and shoots. So I think it would be quite unwise for them to turn around and suddenly change all of the mechanics that people love. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that's how I think it will go down. And in regards to the article that I mentioned, let's have a quick look because there is some solid information in here. And it does kind of back up that theory. Both games will share post-launch seasonal content through the return of the Battle Pass system and the store, as well as share a progression system. At launch, Black Ops Cold War is set to include a brand new leveling journey that will connect to Warzone, allowing players to unlock new functional content to be used in both titles. In addition, both games are set to share post-launch seasonal content through the return of the Battle Pass system and the store. On top of all new Black Ops Cold War content, Warzone players will still have access to previously earned content, and this is really important. Weapons, operators, blueprints, equipment, cosmetics, and so on that they've earned during their experiences in Modern Warfare. And this means that those players who earned Modern Warfare items in Modern Warfare or Warzone will retain that content when Black Ops Cold War launches in November. And I really believe that that right there pretty much confirms my theory that Warzone will be staying on the same engine and remaining as a standalone thing. So we can start to think of Warzone as a Disney World of Call of Duty, as I've talked about before. It exists in its own connected Call of Duty multiverse. So even though the Warzone map might change when Cold War comes out, so it might look more like the 1980s, and I'm sure there'll be new points of interest and things you can do on it, you'll still be able to use modern day weapons or modern day Price or Mara as your operators, for example. But you'll also be able to use the new 1980s characters that they add, like Adler and Woods, who you can use right now, in fact, in Warzone if you unlock them during the Cold War reveal, and also the 1980s weapons that they add. So Warzone is becoming its own standalone, unique bubble, so to speak. And then it goes on like this. The Battle Pass will launch in tandem with post-launch live seasons, which will include themed content that matches each season's narrative. So it sounds like they're going to continue the story stuff in Warzone. They just might interweave some of that 1980s in there. Maybe there'll be an element of time travel, who knows? And that's all. I think that's given us a really good idea about the future of Warzone and how Cold War affects that. And I'm sure that when it comes to October, November next year, if there's another new Call of Duty game, Warzone will still be going and they might do the same thing again. But of course, that's far away. We don't really have to think about that for now. I'm sure that Activision and all the COD studios do, though, because Warzone is massive and arguably Call of Duty is becoming Warzone in a lot of ways. It's going to be a few interesting years for the franchise. With that said, do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. A big thanks to all these guys who've used my creator code, JackFrags, all capital letters, in Modern Warfare or Warzone. If you use my code, I get a bit of kickback from anything that you buy. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. It's a great way to help me out here. If you do use my code, tweet me a pic of it. What do you think they're going to do with Warzone and Cold War? Do you think I'm right what I'm guessing here, or is there something I'm missing? With that said, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.